coming up. Have him come up into the road. Perfect, Jim. Walking this frame.
Yeah. Well, hello. This is George Haley that we have here in this beautiful 1938 Chevrolet. George is the treasurer of our Golden Era Automobile Association, a co-treasurer. His wife Anna Maria and George take care of all our financial orders. And like I mentioned a little bit earlier, Anna Maria is the one responsible for all the decorations and for the prizes and the fun and games in the picnic shelter today. George has got an interesting story about this 1938 Chev Coupe and his relationship to it. Do you want to mention that?
Yeah, well, first of all, I've had the car for 50 years, and it came from my great uncle who passed away in 1960, and I had remembered riding in the car when I was probably 7 or 8 years old, and I'd known the car all my life, so I ended up buying it from the estate, paid $35 for it.
Ah, yes.
And all during the 60s, I drove it as a second car. It was, when I got it, it only had 31,000 miles. It was a pretty clean car. And at the end of the 60s, I moved to Seattle area. At that time, I was living in Kansas. And I moved to Seattle, and I left it behind and stored it in Missouri. And when I'd go back there on vacation to see my parents, I'd always take it out of storage and drive it during my week of vacation, whatever. And I've driven it down trips through Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, and all over. And I have a fine memory of the first time I got on the turnpike with it in Oklahoma. They pulled up to the booth to collect the ticket, and the guy looked at me and he looked at the car and he said, "You know, we have a minimum speed limit of 50 miles per hour. Do you think you can do that?" I said, "Sure." He looked at me kind of doubtful, give me the ticket. And I got off in Tulsa, Oklahoma, about 100 miles down the road. They took my ticket and said, "Okay, you made it."
Very good.
In about 1984, I drove it to Seattle area after I'd lived up here for a while. And at that time, the speed limit was 55 miles per hour, the national speed limit, and I had no problem at all. It was about a 2,000-mile trip, but I made it in 5 days, I believe. And I was living overseas at the time, and I stored it in Seattle area. And when I retired in 1997, I got it out of storage, and I thought, well, I'd give it a new facelift, so I had it repainted, had a new upholstery put in it, with original type. And I started driving, and the traffic had changed a lot in those 20 years or so since I'd driven it prior. So I found out that you could put overdrives in them from the production 1940s Chevrolets. So I finally found one and put it in the car, and it really made a big difference. And you could drive the speed limit no problem, and also put radial tires on it to make it handle better. So since then, in 2001, I drove from Seattle to Springfield, Illinois, and back. It was about a 5,300-mile trip, round trip. And in 2006, I drove to Grand Junction, Colorado, for the Chevrolet meet down there. Came back up through Yellowstone National Park and all up through Montana. Not one problem in any of the trips I've taken. And next year, July, I plan on driving to Flint, Michigan to the National Chevrolet meet. So we'll see how that one goes, but I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I don't expect you to have any difficulties whatsoever. This is a nice car in that, you know, George has some very nice accessories, and they're all authentic Chevrolet accessories. One of them is what everybody wanted in their car at the time, a radio. And this is the top-of-the-line radio with push buttons, and the antenna, the little prestige symbol on the side of the cowl there, the special antenna that goes with it. He has turn indicators. He has the overdrive, which is a remarkable accessory. He has factory heater and clock, and the banjo steering wheel, all these nice items that enhance the car, even a special knob on the cowl ventilator. So I just wanted to mention those things, and I'll step back here so we can get a look at the nice profile of the car, and thank George again for participating in the video and for being our treasurer and taking care of the cash of our club. So we'll see you later on here this afternoon when all this winds down.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Sure pretty. I like